Welcome to another 3-day series, and today we're taking a look at the cloud series. And we have the cloud trails and below project. And as you can see, again, since I love working with kind of volume clusters so much, I thought, yeah, let's try and make some proper clouds. So I wasn't really able to create, this realistic clouds that we do have, but yeah, it was nice practice run, work with the sky object, and yeah, so that's pretty much what we have. And I decided to add a sphere in the middle because, a lot of time when your composition lack details, I just add a sphere somewhere, and that's pretty much it. So we have this one, as you can see, very fuzzy, there's not a lot of details, but the second day went a lot better. I was able to create these nice cloud trails, which looks very nice. We also have this shadow of the sphere here that we can see a little bit, and yeah, I love this one. And for the third project, I went a little bit overboard with the noise. So the only issue right now with using volume in Blender is that we do have sometimes the kind of intersection issues. So as you can see here, in the same volume, we have a lot of intersection happening, and it creates these these voxel artifacts, which doesn't look good. And for this project, I had a lot of issue, and I had to render it a couple of times. At first, I thought it was the denoiser, but no, it's just how the volume works. And I know that it's going to be fixed in Blender 5, so we have to try that again. And yeah, there's a lot of kind of voxel intersection artifact here. And yeah, so I try in Photoshop to kind of blend a little bit the parts that I could see that were problematic, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And I think I ended up not using any denoiser in this one. As you can see, yeah, there's a lot happening. But yeah, so let's jump inside of the first project. So I did get inspired by Adrian ITN, which has a video about his cloud system in Blender. This is looking really, really nice. I love the kind of demo that he put out for this. Really nice renders, and they are still a little bit fuzzy, as you can see. But that's just because for the animation part, it's really hard to render proper clouds animations. But yeah, I'm gonna have a link down in the description for this video. So he is using a custom node setup that he created and have here on his Gumroad. I didn't ended up getting that because I really wanted to try and figure out stuff for myself. But yeah, I really think that his cloud system is it's the best I've seen so far. And yeah, so if you want to create realistic cloud, be sure to check out his product. I think it's free, I'm not sure. So yeah, the Lite is free and the Pro is $8. So yeah, definitely take a look at this video. But for now, let's take a look at what I was able to create on my own. So I'm gonna get out of my camera. I'm gonna take off my plane. So this is what we have. And let's take a look at the geometry node system. So I started with a curve, quadratic Bezier curve, set inside of a set position. And with a noise texture, I'm kind of randomizing the offset of each point of the curve. I then turn the curve to mesh. So this is kind of the mesh that we have. So I'm turning the curve to mesh, then the mesh to volume. I am distributing point in the volume, set position. Again, we control the offset thanks to a noise. Instance on point, icosphere, random value. So this is kind of a setup that I'm using very often. We realize instances, and then we subdivide our mesh. And after that, something that I did take from the video is the displace modifier. And if I open up the displacement, you can see that we have now a texture tab here. So I'm going to go to the tab, and I added the type cloud. And after that, I was able to, play around with the cloud distortion. Of course, you don't see a lot because we do need to have some subdivision. So I'm going to try a little bit of subdivision. And as you can see, this is kind of the cloud system without the mesh to volume. So as you can see, I don't have a mesh to volume here. I decided to do that after I added some displacement. So now I can go here and play around with the displacement just to add more details on those cubes. But again, this is depending on the subdivision that you already have. So if you have just one, nothing is going to be applied. You do need to add some subdivision, and this is very, very heavy to compute. And yeah, so be careful with your subdivision, because I did have a lot of crashes on these projects. But yeah, so we have our geometry node that creates our overall cloud mesh. We then add some displacement to be able to have more details. And after that, we have a just mesh to volume geometry node to be able to turn that into a proper volume. And I'm going to open that. And that's the final volume that we have. Of course, I don't have as much subdivision that I had on the other one, but yeah. And after that, when it comes to the texturing, again, be sure to watch the tutorial that he had, because he has a lot of nice texturing option for clouds. But I wanted to create something a lot simpler, so I just added a couple of noise in a color ramp and added some anisotropy to it. And to do that, I used the ray depth of the light path into an add and a power node. And that way I can control a little bit the anisotropy. So you can see a little bit what this does. I added then a ball, and I also wanted a little bit more kind of reflection here on the sphere. So that's why I have a plane down below with a simple texture. And as you can see, it's kind of gray because I didn't want it a full reflective floor, just a little bit so that it's not dark. And inside of our world, we have the sky texture. So Nishita, and I played around with those settings. So for the second project, as you can see, the texture is exactly the same. I didn't change anything there. And as well as our cloud system, we have our geometry node, displacement, and another geometry node here. So I'm going to close this up. And as you can see, this is the mesh that I created in the geometry node. So let's take a look at what we have. So we have the same setup. The only difference is that I changed the multiply factor. And as you can see, first of all, so we don't have any subdivision, which is good. You can play around the vector to modify the offset. And I added another offset here to scale up and down those trails on one axis, because you can play around with the 3 axes of the vector, but I just wanted this axis. So as you can see, the displacement is affecting the scale of our sphere. Since we don't have any subdivision on them, it's going to affect kind of all faces. And as you can see, the faces kind of get squeezed down. After that, we have our mesh to volume geometry node, which creates our final volume. And as you can see, camera below, and if I press render, we are now looking up at the sky. So that's why this one came out really blue. So we have a plane down below to kind of reflect light onto the sky. And I think I did this because, yeah, the sphere was black, because our sky just creates a black void down below. And since I didn't want that, I just added a plane with a bluish color. And the third project, as you can see, I played again with the vector to be able to create this billowing cloud system. And I'm going to go here, I'm going to deselect this just to see what we have. So yeah, this is our cloud system. And you can see all of the intersection that we have here on our spheres. And that's why it created this kind of artifact in the final render. So yeah, just be careful of these things. So I don't know if we can actually fix that, or that's just a issue with the render. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this 3-day series. Cloud, so I'm not there yet. There's still a lot of work to be made to be able to create proper cloud system, but it is what it is, you know, we live to learn, right? And that's pretty much it for today, guys. I will see you in the next video. Cheers.